Hey YouTube, we are back again this week for another video portion of the Daly Dose Sports Podcast. Hope everyone out there is doing well. Hope you're all staying healthy right now. Hey, this week on the Dose video, we're actually touching on a few interesting sports news stories that have come out over the past week. I think you're going to find them very interesting. Let's jump into that right now. Moving over to the NFL, Dallas Cowboys right tackle La'el Collins was suspended a few weeks ago for some sort of illegal substance in his system. We actually talked about that a little bit here on the Dose. Well, it turns out that isn't exactly how that went down. The real story is a little bit different and much dumber. So here's the thing. Players cannot be suspended for positive marijuana tests under the NFL's new collective bargaining agreement. Kind of makes sense. Pot is legal in a lot of places, so they won't suspend you for that. But that wasn't the catch here. You see, it seems that Mr. Collins' issue was that he had missed multiple tests. Oh, and that he was actually suspended after trying to bribe the league's drug test collector. The NFL initially was actually preparing to suspend Collins 5 games for his actions, but then the NFL Players Association, aware that the 5-game suspension was on the table, they were going to negotiate a reduction to what would have been just a 2-game ban. However, Collins appealed the suspension, and the appeal was heard by an arbitrator appointed jointly by both the league and the Players Association, and the arbitrator not only rejected Collins' appeal, but he also ruled that based on the evidence and stupidity, the suspension should be increased back to the original 5 games. The arbitrator noted that Collins' bribe attempt wasn't even enough to buy his wife a new Tesla. He also stated that Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott fumbled the envelope holding the bribe and spilled most of the money. So, I mean, good luck. He's not going to take that bribe. That's a garbage bribe. It looks like you're going to be out for at least 5 games, primarily just for stupidity. This isn't even an illegal substance situation. This is just you being dumb, and you might be one of the dumbest Cowboys out there, and that's saying a lot. Staying in the NFL, it looks like Monday Night Football is going to be going to the playoffs. Yes, the NFL announced last week that the season's expanded playoffs is going to include a primetime Monday night matchup on what is being referred to as Super Wildcard Weekend. Of course, last season, the NFL expanded its postseason for the first time in 30 years. And now we have 14 teams qualifying for the playoffs, where previously you only had 12 teams getting in. Well, Super Wildcard Weekend is going to allow football lovers to feast on 6 helpings of playoff games from Saturday afternoon until Monday night. Postseason play will kick off with wild card matchups on Saturday, January 15th. You'll get 2 games. Sunday, you'll get 3 games. And then you'll get a Monday night main course. But here's the question that I guess I have to ask. I mean, I get it. You know the NFL is going to own the ratings on that weekend for 3 straight days. But isn't the team going to be at a disadvantage the following week when they had 1 less day to prepare? I mean, I'm sure no one will be complaining about that, right? More importantly than any of that, though, something to keep in mind, if your favorite team is playing in that Monday night playoff game, you might need to think about coming up with an excuse for your work or maybe your school day on that Tuesday, because we know how those games can go. You don't want to have to get up early if you were up celebrating or maybe crying when your team was either winning a playoff game or getting eliminated. Kind of keep that in the back of your mind. A Monday night game could mean you come down with something on Tuesday. Just make sure you're real careful about your symptoms. You'll get booted out of work or school for like 2 weeks if you don't. The other question I have, will Peyton and Eli Manning be covering that Monday night game? Because if so, I'm all in. I've told you before, I absolutely love their broadcast. Let's be sure they're going to be on the broadcast team that night, right? Finally, we have a story that you may not have heard, but trust me, you're going to want to, because Daly Dose I-Team President Big Rob sent me this one, and it's a good one. It seems that a 60-year-old man by the name of Ronnie Brunswick laced up his soccer cleats and took to the field as a striker as his team Inter faced off against Olympia in a league game in Suriname, South America. In fact, the 60-year-old man was also named team captain for the match. Now, was this some sort of publicity stunt? Was this like a charity Make-A-Wish thing? No. You see, Ronnie Brunswick has been Suriname's vice president since July of 2020. He actually previously founded and led the rebel group called Jungle Commando, which sought to free Suriname from a military dictatorship during the Surinamese Interior War back in the late 80s. In 1999, he was actually accused of cocaine trafficking by the Dutch government and was sentenced to 8 years in prison. Then in 2005, he was suspended by Suriname's National Football Association after, wait for it, threatening a player on the pitch with a handgun. Well, my man Ronnie decided he would just name himself a starter and captain of his team, and I'll just say this, it didn't go well. His Inter team lost 6-0, I think that's how you say it in soccer speak, and he ended up subbing himself out after looking fat and paunchy and really doing nothing in the game. But I mean, what if other American owners would start doing this? Like, what if Mark Cuban just checks in for the Dallas Mavericks? What if Jerry Jones names himself the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys? We've been waiting for that for years. What if that pumpkin pie haircutted freak Mark Davis actually decides that he's going to be the Las Vegas Raiders' new starting cornerback? Actually, that might be a little bit of an upgrade, but you get what I'm saying. I know that Ronnie is taking some heat for this, but I'll tell you this right now. I love it. I want to see more of it, and I'm hoping this kind of trend comes to America because it would be amazing. Okay, YouTube, be sure to go over and check out the rest of the podcast. This week on The Dose, we are going to be handing out some winners and losers from the week in college football and the NFL. Plus, we will have a Daly Dose top 5 for you this week. You know, we just talked about Lyle Collins getting popped for a banned substance. Well, it's not the first time, and it sure won't be the last time. But it is kind of funny to think about some of the excuses that athletes have given for those situations. We're going to have a few of those for you today. So be sure you go out and you check out the rest of the podcast. I will leave a link here in the comments on YouTube for you. Hope you all are doing well. I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week.